Hello, how you doing? Hope you're good. Happy Mercury retrograde direct. That didn't make any sense. Happy Mercury direct. I believe Mercury just went direct and we have the shadow period for the next few weeks. It's been intense, man. It's been an intense retrograde, at least for me personally. It's been nice. It's been full of growth and self-reflection, but I'm happy for Mercury to go direct. All love and respect to Mercury. I use it for growth for sure. But yeah. We're just going to go ahead and take a deep breath, say a prayer, and get into the reading. Pray to God, Spirit, my guides, my angels, and my ancestors to help myself, the collective, and anybody watching to see the clearest messages for the highest good of all involved in our love and relationships for a timeless love message. Microphone is already moving. Alright, man, so if you are new here, welcome to the channel. I appreciate you watching. If you are not new here, also welcome, and welcome back. If you want to book a personal reading, everything is in the description. I will never contact you for a reading in any way, shape, or form. The only way to book a reading with me is by sending me an email, which is in the description, or by DMing me on Instagram, which is also in the description. Also, a side note, I'm going to start posting my Instagram posts on YouTube. I almost said Tumblr. Not on Tumblr. I'm going to start posting my the reels on the shorts, just because it's not the full video. Instagram lengthened it to like a minute and a half now. Yeah, so I recorded a reading last 2 days ago. Was it 2 days ago? And in classic Mercury retrograde behavior, the reading was corrupted. So I finished the reading. I did notice the camera glitched a little bit when I stopped the reading, and I went home and I went to upload the video, and it was just it was one of those like gray boxes with a little exclamation mark with a circle around it, and it said the reading length was like 0, even though it was 4 gigabytes of memory, and I was just like, I don't know. So I just ended up just deleting it and decided I'll give it a little break, hop into it. Yeah, man, we are going to do something a little bit different today. I tried this last night. I've seen it done in other readings. We'll still do our usual, channeling and pulling messages and clarifying stuff, but I want to be a little more specific. So I'm going to do something where we're going to do like challenges you may be facing. We'll do like some past energy, present energy, and like future energy, and then like maybe like a blind spot, something you don't see coming, right? So I just want to give it a try. Let me know if you like that. If not, we'll just go back to doing regular old channel messages. It's going to be basically the same, except we're just going to give it a little bit more structure. You know what I mean? I just thought it would be nice. I am actually going to start with the Sorcerer's Tarot today. I know you're probably thinking, why aren't you using the Hieronymus Bosch deck? I've been using it so much. I don't know. I've not been feeling as called to use the deck lately, even when I've been doing my own readings. A big reason too is because when I do my own readings, a lot of the times, I just started shuffling without even setting intentions for what I'm pulling for, sorry. A lot of the times I'll pull cards and then, I'll get my own interpretations, and I'll watch a reading and they'll be getting the same cards I was getting, and then I get a little new insight on it. So I've been kind of doing that a little bit, and so I'm just going with the flow, man, and that's kind of where I'm at. So let's go ahead and pull some cards here for you. We're going to pull what challenges may you be facing. And the thing I noticed about giving it a little structure, like I literally just did this last night and it worked out really well, and I just wanted to try it with you guys. It gave me a little more structure, and it allowed me to interpret the cards in a different way without, you know what I mean? It was a little bit easier to give messages out. So here's what we're gonna do. We got a little stack. Okay, we're basically gonna pull it like this. So we're just gonna do like one at a time, and then we'll probably use them as clarifiers. So I'll go through them. So we're gonna do challenges you may be facing right now. Gonna be the Queen of Cups. Okay. Queen of Cups in the challenge space is essentially learning to control your emotions. That may be something you're having a hard time with. I know we are just coming out of Mercury retrograde. It can be a little bit of an intense energy to have to deal with. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like you can feel things so deeply, especially if you're entering a new relationship of some sort. But it's the need to not let your emotions get the best of you. Keep in mind that, like, yes, these are timeless readings. But whatever period of time you watch this in, this will likely resonate when it needs to resonate. And if it doesn't, it's probably because you haven't experienced it yet, or the reading is just not for you, because it is a general reading. So like, one thing I've been kind of taking to heart is not taking general readings so so personally in terms of like making all of my life decisions in relationships based off of what I see in a general reading. Even though we are a small little collective, I do want you guys to at least, not saying that you guys already don't do this, but like use your own intuition and of course all the things. And I also feel like that's kind of the challenge here too. It's like you tapping into those psychic abilities, tapping into your intuition when it comes to a relationship you may be dealing with. If you feel like something is off in a relationship, focus on what you're feeling in the situation. Is this something that you feel like you are genuinely experiencing? This came up on this came up on Instagram, and then you'll probably see the short before I post this video. So it's that same type of energy. If you guys are new to the channel, we essentially post shorts on or reels on Instagram, and then I do a reading right after that, and then it tends to just extend on that energy. So that's in your challenge space. We're going to go ahead and tap into some past energy here. So past energy, we do have the 5 of Pentacles. This is essentially just kind of being very closed off. I feel like you were dealing with somebody who was very closed off, and that's kind of this energy here where this is why I feel like this is in your challenge space, because you're like, well, this person isn't necessarily being very open with me. They're not expressing their emotions. They're not showing me. I just bent the crap out of the card. They're not really being open and honest with how they feel, and it's kind of putting you in this space where you're just needing to trust your intuition and needing to really trust how you feel. And so I feel like because we have the challenge space with this past energy, not only have you decided to come out of this, you kind of utilize your own personal abilities to recognize that, you know, just because somebody's being closed off and being this and that doesn't really have anything to do with you. It has more to do with the other person than it does you at the end of the day, right? Let's go ahead and pull up. This is your present energy we got here. Present energy is the Queen of Swords. Okay, I'm just going to keep these all out because they're essentially going to be, you know, working with each other anyways. So as a present energy with the Queen of Swords, I feel like this is either you being in a space where you're not willing to put up with anything. If you look at the card, she's really not being too nice to that little, it's kind of not going to really focus, can't get it to focus. She's not really being very nice to this, whatever this thing is, a gremlin or fucking a gnome or something, I don't know. Regardless, I don't feel like you're putting up with anything. I do feel like you're not really willing to put up with this kind of energy. I feel like, again, because this is in your past space, you decided that, you know, I'm just going to walk away from this. I don't want to put up with this anymore. This isn't something that feels right for me. Whether or not that's something that will change, we're going to look into that. But, you know, being in your present energy, you are in that Queen of Swords. This is somebody who is very quick-witted. This is somebody who's very intelligent. This is somebody who has plans and puts them into action. This isn't somebody who is sitting here really willing to just kind of let life happen. I feel like there's, you know, like we talked about before, there's a co-creation with the universe where there comes a point where we got to kind of, you know, work with the universe in the sense of let the universe do a little bit, then we do a little bit. And we have to be in constant communication with the universe to be able to understand when to move and when to stop. And I feel like that's kind of where you're at right now. You're in that space where you're understanding when to push, when to pull, when to not do anything at all. And because somebody, you know, if somebody is not receptive to your love that you're, that's what I'm also seeing here. I feel like this is you offering your love to somebody who's just not open to it. You know what I mean? And sometimes we just got to accept that. And whether or not that has anything to do with us, it really doesn't, honestly. But it's one of those things where you kind of got to just stand up for yourself. And I feel like this is somebody who knows their boundaries. So you really just may be stepping into this space of understanding how to enforce your boundaries in a healthy way. Even if your boundaries cause harm to another person, I'm not talking about physical harm, that's a whole different story. But in terms of like you maybe pulling back from a person, pulling your energy back, deciding to focus more on yourself, because to me this isn't somebody who's necessarily doing this on purpose. I feel like this is somebody who is doing this because they're focused on their own lives, right? Everybody's busy, everybody got things going on, but everybody has time. You can make time for the people you love. I mean, you do it all the time for family and friends. It's no different in dating and partnerships, right? There's no need to continue to tolerate somebody's mistreatment of you if they aren't giving you really anything. I mean, if they're really just keeping you in this confused, out in the cold energy, even though you're offering your cup and they're very closed off and you're saying no more, well, then that's kind of where we're at with it, right? So let's go ahead and move into the future energy here. The future energy, we do have the Ace of Wands, okay? So this can mean a few different things, okay? If this is you in the space of cutting somebody off and walking away and setting boundaries. This is you essentially stepping into a new passionate beginning, either in a new relationship or by you setting boundaries. This is going to allow a new beginning to flourish in this relationship. But also I'm saying this could be you moving into a new career space or just focusing on your career as a whole, right? I think we talked about this a few readings ago, where it's really easy for us to get caught up in trying to chase something if it's not working. I know I personally do that a lot, or not anymore, but I used to do that a lot. I would go through this cycle where it's like I would literally go through this cycle that we're seeing here in these cards. It would be like, okay, I would offer my cup, this person's not open to it, and then instead of being in the Queen of Swords, I would basically just go right back to here. So it was basically a cycle of like continuing to try to get somebody to accept my cup. And I realized eventually that, you know, that's just not the way to do it. Not only is it disrespectful to me, but is it also disrespectful to the other person and their boundaries, because if they aren't accepting your cup, that is their way of setting boundaries with you, saying, you know, I'm not comfortable with that, or that's not something I'm interested in, and we just have to be okay with that, okay? So now we're going to go into, I think it was, you know, what you may not see, like a blind spot kind of space. Funny, because I literally got this in my blind spot space last night, so let's talk about this. 10 of Cups. This can be looked at a few different ways, man. I mean, I feel like if we're doing this initial off the bat energy, 10 of Cups is just like the wish fulfillment, the ultimate happiness and all that kind of stuff. But the thing I've been noticing about this card, if you take a look at it, this person doesn't look like excited, you know what I mean? That's what I find very interesting. This isn't somebody who is necessarily ecstatic. I mean, it is 10 of Cups energy, but this looks like somebody who's just kind of resting, who's a little bit tired, who's maybe just focusing on what it means to be relaxed and happy in their own home environment. If you're taking a look at these top parts of the card here, I don't necessarily, it looks like just two stone figures, but I feel like more than anything, this is the divine really opening the door for you to that happy home life, or whatever it is that you are seeking, that 10 of Cups, right? That in the space of not seeing that coming, I feel like you're not necessarily going to see what's coming to you in terms of that happiness. This could be, again, with this person coming around and deciding to actually start this new beginning with you, or this could just be you not seeing that you're going to be getting what it is you actually want by stepping into that Queen of Swords boundary setting energy. Okay, now we're going to go and move into advice. We're going to actually use these three cards here, and then we're going to go Harona Nisbash, and then we're going to do our usual and delve into these energies. Let me know if you like this. I think it worked out a little bit better in terms of like getting the messages across to you. I feel like it's really straightforward, doing the kind of a little bit more structure in the reading. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. So we're going to do advice. We have Page of Cups, the Empress, and then we have Ace of Pentacles. So as an advice, I feel like this is you essentially being advised to stay in your Empress energy, to really remain in that divine feminine energy. This is something that came up many, many months ago when we started reading, back when I was reading at my old spot. When I say old spot, that's a spot where I have this little thing open here. I can't even see my hand. Where can I touch it so you can see it on camera? Oh, there. Ow! I just cut my finger. Well, I didn't really cut it, but I just like smashed it. Anyways, when I used to have this thing open and you could see the trees, that was my old spot. So back when we were doing those readings, this is the type of energy that we had coming out. It's being open to receiving offers coming your way, but being smart enough to know when somebody is actually making a genuine offer or they're in an inconsistent and immature energy. We can see the Page of Cups very different ways. We can look at it as somebody who is exciting, like quick to express themselves. It could be somebody who's willing to make that offer, to take the risks. But then this could also be somebody who is inconsistent and who is immature. And then it could also be somebody who is younger than you. So take that as it resonates, man. But I feel like as the advice space, Spirit is just asking you to be open to new opportunities. This doesn't always have to be with the person that you have on your mind. This could be with somebody new. But regardless, I feel like as an advice, you have stuff coming in. This is a continuation of what we've been talking about for the past few readings. Again, we're going to go back to this 10 of Cups in the not seeing space, in the blind spot. This is you putting an end to cycles. We've been talking about ending of cycles for a while now. But now that we're coming out of Mercury retrograde, this is really the time to put that into action. We had that period of time to reflect during Mercury retrograde where we were like, okay, What can we do differently? What isn't working? I feel like you already realized that. Again, you stepped into the Queen of Swords space. You said no more. I'm not going to put myself in that situation again. I feel like this is something you've been through many times. I know I personally have been through that many times, and it's just as of this year that I am stopping interacting with that kind of dynamic. And that's not to speak ill upon anybody that I dealt with. I have nothing but love and respect for the people that I have dealt with. And I hope that you have the same, because when you get to that space of really finding compassion for those that have hurt you or for those that things didn't work out with, that's what allows you to be open to accept this new energy. And I feel like that is the message coming through. The main message here is really just learning to find that compassion. We're going to pull this bottom of the deck here and here and here, okay? And we'll also take this one here. And so this is what I'm seeing, man. This is essentially moving into our old style of reading now. We're going to go into just straight up channeling and intuitive interpretations here. So even though we are moving on from the advice space, we're just going to go with what we have. So I feel like there's going to be a need to let your guard down, okay? When this new connection comes in, there's going to be a need for you to let your guard down, because it is going to be something that you have been wanting. This is a new beginning. I don't know whether this is going to be the person you've been dealing with. We could sit here and pull cards and say, you know, is it going to be a yes? Is it going to be a no? But because this is a general reading, I want to empower you guys to really use your intuition as to whether you feel like this applies to somebody you're dealing with. I don't normally tend to get into the horoscopes, excuse me. I don't normally tend to get into the signs, the zodiac signs. This could be a fire sign you're dealing with, Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries. But regardless, I just feel like this is somebody who is very passionate. This is somebody who's very talented, creative, somebody who pursues their creative endeavors, and is really could be in the public eye. I mean, we have talked about that before. But with the Tower here, I don't feel like this is something that you are bringing in. I feel like this is something the universe is bringing in, or something somebody is bringing to you. If this is somebody that is bringing this energy to you, this looks like they are essentially also very closed off. They have very strong boundaries, okay? So if now I'm kind of tapping into the situation where we were looking at the person that you were, you know, trying to give your love to. If they're not open to it, this is telling me that there is a desire there for it, but the reason they are closed off is because they have been hurt in the past and they have strong boundaries, okay? So if this is a new situation that you are dealing with, if this is the manifestation that we have been talking about, because this can go so many different ways, this is just a reminder to let you know that this person has been through a lot. They have been hurt. They are very emotional. They are very sensitive. We do have the Queen of Cups. That can also, like, since that Queen of Cups is in the challenge space, this could be the challenge in this relationship, is understanding that, like, this person is very sensitive. You know what I mean? They are very intuitive. They are very sensitive, and they're very careful about who they let into their energy. This could also be you being very careful about who you let around you, because you want to protect this 10 of Cups. You may not fully be in this 10 of Cups yet, but you know that you want this 10 of Cups. So while you may not see it, because this is technically in the blind spot space, while you may not see the 10 of Cups here yet, you know that it is coming. You trust your intuition. This is why that's in the challenge space. Again, I keep being drawn to the Queen of Cups. This is why I feel like this is the challenge right now for you, is needing to trust your intuition and understand that, like, just because you're not seeing something now does not mean it's not coming, right? I was watching a Queen Cup reading on Patreon yesterday, and that was one of the messages coming through, was like, we tend to sit here and question, why is this not manifesting yet? Why is this not coming into our lives yet? And it's because sometimes those manifestations are very big, you know, massive manifestations that take time to work through the Tree of Life, right? We've talked about the Tree of Life before. We have the Golden Dawn Tarot, which is based off of the mystical Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism, and all that stuff. So we're going to kind of move away from this deck now. We're going to move into Hieronymus Bosch. Again, as a final advice to you before we do, we're going to use this bottom of the deck, Knight of Pentacles, just to reiterate that, like, this is a very serious person, okay? So if this is somebody that is a little closed off and they are a little cold, it's because they have good reason to be. It is not anything personal to you. It is because they have been through their own stuff. They can be still working through stuff from the past, again, because that is the 10 of Cups in the blind spot. You may not be seeing that this person is actually trying to work through past relationships. I mean, we are all working through past relationships with Mercury retrograde coming out of that. Everybody's going through that in their own ways, right? And so I feel like that's kind of why you need to have compassion. As the advice with the Empress that we did have, that's needing to have compassion for whoever it is you're dealing with, but still, be in that Queen of Swords energy, but, be willing to also step into this, compassionate and passionate energy. Passion is a big theme right now. The cards are all kind of, jumbled up, so I'm not going to pull it out. We've all seen the Empress. Let's move on to a new deck. As I'm sure you can tell, my throat is in much better condition today. I haven't been clearing my throat every 10 seconds. Well, I recorded yesterday, so I did actually record some stuff, and yeah, that's usually what gets my vocal cords in a better condition. My vocal cords are actually really tired, though, I'm not gonna lie. I was singing on the way over, and I can already feel it. It's usually a good way for me to know when my vocal cords are getting pretty worn out. You tend to feel it. It's even when you use your diaphragm to talk, there's a little bit of tension in the chest, in the throat, right? So I am kind of feeling that a little bit. But yeah, I'm happy with the fact that my throat feels like it's in much better condition. And I feel like that had a lot to do with the Mercury retrograde energy anyways. I feel like there was such a pause on things. There wasn't really opportunities to talk things through with people. There was more so just letting people have their space, taking your space. And so I feel like that's kind of going to be coming to an end, man. I mean, we did have Mars that just went direct as well, right? And so I feel like with all these planets going direct, we're going to be getting the opportunities to actually work through these issues that we've been having with people. We're going to get the opportunity to work through any conflicts that have been coming up in our relationships. Because we had the period to do it within ourselves, and since we took the time to do that work, as I know that you guys have, because, well, I've been reading for you and I've seen you do the work, we're going to be seeing that reflected back outside of us, right? There was a recent experiment that was released surrounding quantum mechanics that had to do with the mind's ability to, I guess you would say, influence our perception of how things materialize. And it was essentially a study produced from, I think it was Harvard or something like that. It was a legitimate, quantum scientific study that has to do with the actual fact that our mind genuinely does have very real implications for how matter manifests. If you know anything about quantum mechanics or quantum entanglement, essentially there is a concept where if you try to observe an atom, or a particle, if you try to observe a particle, whatever property you're trying to observe is going to change upon observing it. And that's because it's in a state of, I can't recall the name of it, but it's essentially like if you look at the double slit experiment, that's essentially saying that it's existing in all states at once, and it goes into like the whole infinite possibilities thing. There's a really great documentary on Netflix about infinity that kind of delves into the possibilities of infinity. It's really eye-opening, actually. It's really intense. I would recommend watching that. But essentially, it's one of those things where because there are infinite possibilities, and because you don't necessarily know how things are going to turn out, it's really important to get in touch with your emotions and calm your thoughts and sort through your thoughts and calm your emotions and make sure the heart and the mind are working together so that the things you do manifest in your life are actually in alignment with what you do want to experience. First card that came out, though, we have the Queen of Skates. It says gossip, new information, and rudeness. And then bottom of the deck, we're going to take this here. It's the Ace of Vessels, vessels being cups in this deck. It says pouring out blessings, success, and satiety. Satiety, I think is how you say it. So that's kind of exactly what came out. We got the Ace of Cups twice. We're going to read the cards on these. I don't think we've gotten them. We have the Ace of Cups twice that has come out. So again, I feel like you're going to be getting this new relationship coming into your life, man. I don't necessarily know if this is new, though. I feel like this is something that you've been dealing with. I feel like during Mercury retrograde and with everything that we've been reading, all the readings on Instagram and all the readings on, I keep saying Tumblr for some reason. I was about to say Tumblr again. On Instagram and on YouTube, it's essentially been a consistent new relationship starting, new career space starting, and then now working through those issues. This is the process that we go through in these new relationships, regardless of whether you go to somebody new or do you stay with somebody from the past. you're going to have that same cycle where you come together with somebody, you have to work through some issues, and it's going to take time. It's not something where it's not just always going to be super easy. I'm not saying that things can't flow and be aligned and naturally move in that direction, but as you move in that direction, you're going to have to work through those issues because you both have trauma, you both have, wants and needs and desires and fears. And so it takes time. There's a ebb and flow of getting to know each other and working through issues as they come up. And I feel like that's kind of the space you may be in with this person that you're dealing with, right? So again, with going back to the Queen of Swords that came up in the present moment, being willing to, yes, be strong and, hold your boundaries and be firm with your communication, compassionate with the communication, but with the Queen of Cups in the challenge space, still learn to be compassionate and understand that you do also need to kind of let those emotions flow, right? So Ace of Vessels, we're going to read this here. Okay. Ace of Vessels says, the Ace of Vessels is similar to the traditional Ace of Cups, but with more vivid imagery and without the religious symbology. A group of nude people sit around a gigantic barrel, drinking from the many holes drilled into it. Some people have jumped into the liquid, or demon creatures are helping them in. Those around the bottom of the barrel are overindulging. Many are throwing up the liquid or expelling it out their backsides. That's pretty gruesome. The barrel is a kind of cornucopia that will never be empty. In the background, there is a table with a knife, rope, and some spatters of blood. These are possibly the remains of things that have been sacrificed and placed into the barrel, which is why it will never run dry. The demons who service the barrel continually fill it with fresh life. This card is connected with abundance and joy. What am I supposed to do with these cards, man? It's supposed to be the Ace of Cups, but they turned it into all this craziness. I get it, you know what I mean? I understand the symbology behind it. It doesn't got to be so gruesome. But essentially what I'm feeling like with that card is, yes, it's going to be a very abundant time for you and this relationship that you are entering. I feel like you may not see that this relationship is moving in that direction because of how things look in the 3D, man. But, things take time to manifest. So, be patient, be willing to be a little bit more compassionate and understand that it's okay to take your space and set your boundaries, but it is also okay for you to be open and vulnerable when the time calls for it. There's a time and place for every emotion, right? Okay, so we're going to be reading this. I might take this into a part 2, mostly because the reading that I did last couple days ago didn't post, and I like continuing these energies. I'm trying to find this card here, the Queen of Skates. Okay. Boom, mostly because I'm almost out of time as well. I don't know if we're going to be able to finish here. So it says, an ugly creature with feminine attributes skates across the ice, balancing easily despite having no arms. She carries a letter in her beak, the name on the front exposed. Her hat is an upside-down funnel, which allows the little knowledge or intelligence she might possess to grow out the top in spindly, barren twigs. The Queen of Skates is crude, rude, and devoid of manners or kindness. Although she can be nasty, she is not explicitly evil or cruel. She is willing to be of service when it suits her. This queen takes great pride in delivering information, especially in the form of gossip, which will arrive quickly but is only as reliable as the ice upon which she skates. Never trust her to keep secrets. So I don't necessarily feel like this is you or your person. Again, I feel like this is tapping into the people around you guys that may be gossiping about this connection, because a lot of the times when you enter these new relationships, if your person talks about you to somebody, or you talk about them to somebody, or because of the fact that tarot exists, it's something where the information is often quite public, especially if you're both very active on social media, publicly interacting with each other, or both in the public eye to some extent. That type of energy tends to come up, especially with us being the light beings we are and doing the work that we do. It is something that I feel like a lot of us have experienced to varying degrees on a consistent basis. As you continue to try to, just grow personally and shine your light and do that in a way that's unapologetic, that will naturally bring out this kind of energy in people, right? So I'm seeing this one of two ways. There's one sense where this is something coming in for you that you're not necessarily seeing coming. I feel like this is the information coming forward about this new beginning in this relationship, or this is essentially the new relationship coming in, and then there are people who around you who are essentially just gossiping about it. Maybe they're just kind of like being a little bit rude to you because they're jealous of maybe you being involved with this person and them giving you a particular type of attention and not necessarily to anybody else. I'll wait to the security guard. He didn't look at me. But that's kind of what I'm seeing, man. It's just that kind of give or take energy. We're going to go ahead and pull another Hieronymus Bosch deck. I think I kind of just want to take this into a part 2, though, if I'm being completely honest. We got a few minutes, and I kind of feel like taking it into part 2. It would be nice. I mean, I could technically just continue going. My phone will split it up into 2 videos. After I end the video, I'm going to check to see if it's actually, like, you know, there and not corrupt. Because if it's corrupt, then I'll just re-record and do a new reading, probably. I didn't know that. I didn't check last time because it's never happened before, so I didn't even know until I got home. And by that time, I was like, okay, I'm already, like, doing my thing. Had some stuff I had to get done. And needed to just relax, quite honestly. So let's go ahead and do one last cards, because we got 2 cards closing out the reading here. We have the Baron of Coins, and then we have the King of Birds. We've seen the King of Birds a couple of times. This has to do with, you know, essentially a purification process, putting in the work, these cycles of healing. This, I feel like, has to do with you just kind of being open to what's coming into your life right now. Again, I feel like this relationship is going through a purification process. I feel like there were some imbalances in this connection, right? Wasting money, loss of money, sham, charity. We're going to read these from the book and see what they say. See what goes into it. Yeah, he usually drives up and then comes back down. So if you see me, like, just waving, it's because I'm waving at the security guards. Because I'm here so much, I don't know if they think I'm, like, up to something, because I just sit in my car and I don't even get out at this point. I just be sitting here and I just leave. So I don't know if they think I'm up to something, but I like to wave at them just to ease their mind or whatever. So Baron of Coins, we're gonna read this card here. Baron of Coins says, an old man places gold coins into a bag held by a small creature hiding in a large wooden chest. Although the man has a key on his waist and the chest is protected by a sturdy lock, creatures have made their home underneath the chest and possibly burrowed through the bottom. The Baron of Coins is what a page of coins will become once he matures. Surely the Baron can see how eagerly the rodent creature holds open the bag, which is already full. The Baron of Coins will continue feeding this little monster until all of his money has disappeared. The allegory is of a parent continuing to support an adult child or a person who is duped into giving money to a scammer. This card is a blend of the traditional 5 of Pentacles and 6 of Pentacles. It suggests some material or financial trouble that has been caused by your own actions. This could have to do with finances, but given the fact that we had 5 of Pentacles in the past energy, I feel like this is you healing from that. You know, as a final closing message, I have about a minute left. I'll likely take this over to a part 2. But this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing you healing from that. I'm seeing you essentially being like, okay, I see that this was unbalanced, and you were really you were investing. You were putting a lot. You weren't getting anything out of it. And I don't feel like you were doing it with the expectations to, but also realizing that that would be nice to be able to give to somebody who gives to you. Okay, so I'm going to leave the reading there. We're going to take this over to a part 2. If you like the video, subscribe, and comment, all that good stuff. I do appreciate all the comments and all the likes and subscribes. I love you guys, man. If you want to book a personal reading, everything is in the description. I will never contact you for a reading in any way, shape, or form. But that said, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in part 2.